Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Terp Family Fundamentals webinar series. My name is Danielle Walker, and I'm the Program Coordinator in the Office of Parent Family Affairs. For those that are new, this webinar series is intended to help you become informed consultants on campus resources. If you remember our office's presentation during orientation, we like to say that during the normal course of events, there's no problem that can arise at the University of Maryland that a student cannot solve using the many resources available to them here. We're joined today by Kristen La Riviere, Associate Director for the Smith Undergraduate Program. Kristen will share information about the transfer process and how you can support your Terp through this process. Please feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we will do our best to respond to those questions before the end of the webinar. With that, I will hand off the presentation. Welcome.
Great, thanks, Danielle. All right, well, welcome everyone to talking about the Smith School of Business and the transfer process. So a little bit about, you can see who I am as well as we're getting ready for our program. As Danielle said, I work in the Smith Undergraduate Program as an Associate Director. I work in various capacities, including what we call our admissions education. One important piece to note is that the Smith Undergraduate Program does not make any admissions decisions. All final admissions decisions are done through the University of Maryland's Office of Undergraduate Admissions. So if you have any questions, you can talk to the Office of Admissions. We're happy to answer what we can, but sometimes we'll have to send you to the Office of Admissions. So today what we're going to go over is the admission process and what that looks like. We also will discuss the opportunities and resources for your Terp. We'll also discuss the importance of parallel planning, and we'll explain what that is when we get to that stage. And lastly, how can families help students? We do understand that this can be a very stressful process for students as well as their families, and so we want to equip you with the information that you can have to help your Terp through the process. So first, let's discuss the admissions process. So your students already here at the University of Maryland, how can they apply to be part of the business major? First of all, the students have to have an idea of a business major that they want to apply to. We offer 8 different majors here at the Smith School of Business, as you can see on the screen. We offer your typical accounting, finance, management, marketing. We also offer some majors that people may not be as familiar with, including operations management and business analytics, as well as supply chain management. Information systems is a major in which students learn how to be effective managers in translating computer science information for business decisions. So if a student is looking for more programming experience, they might want to look at computer science. But if they're looking in how can we use some of that computer science information for business decisions, information systems is a great choice for a student. Students can double major within the Smith School of Business, so any of these combinations can be put together. Students can also major outside of the business school, so we do have students who have a major in the Smith School but also may have a major elsewhere in the university, including economics or theater or government and politics. So it really is dependent on what your student's career trajectory looks like. We also have students who have a major in the business school as well as a minor outside of the college. So really, there are plenty of opportunities for a student to get a holistic education in their interests. In terms of the application process, it is a highly competitive process, and we recognize that. And while I wish I could offer statistics, unfortunately, we're unable to offer any kind of statistics because the process really varies year to year, semester to semester, depending on how many freshman students we bring in, how many transfer students we bring in. So it really is a kind of guess in terms of how many people. I can say it's roughly about 250 to 300 students that we bring in each semester. And in terms of applications, it really varies semester to semester. In terms of deadlines, though, students can submit application materials online by March 15th for fall admission or October 15th for spring admission. And the students will be assessed based on their eligibility status. So if students have all of their gateway courses, which we'll discuss in just a moment, students can be reviewed immediately. If the students are still in progress of any of their gateway statuses, we'll discuss how eligibility happens there. And all internal candidates, so those are students who are currently at the University of Maryland and a different major, can apply at www.lep smschool.umd.edu. The important piece is the application usually goes live about 2 to 3 weeks into the semester. So if your student is stressed that they haven't seen the application be released yet, it's okay. It does take time to get the application posted on the website. How the applications are reviewed, it is on a holistic review process. In terms of what is taken into account, first, the admissions team looks at academic record. Does the student have the prerequisite courses required for the Smith School? And we'll go over those specific courses in just a moment. Also, a student's GPA is included. A student must have a 3.0 GPA or higher to be considered in the application transfer process. If they have below a 3.0 GPA, a student will not be assessed for admission into the Smith School of Business. There's also a place where students can list their jobs and internships as well as activities and any leadership. This doesn't have to just be campus involvement or leadership. It can also include any community events or activities or organizations they are a part of. There's also a statement of purpose in which students can explain why are they interested in business. And I know it says optional next to the resume equivalent and the statement of purpose, but we really truly encourage students to fill out these application parts because it gives the admissions team a more holistic view of the student. For example, if a student maybe has a lower GPA than, let's say, a 3.5, then having an explanation about I work full-time and I'm trying to support myself through college. Having those types of information is really helpful for the admissions team. The other application item we always recommend to students is having letters of recommendation. Students can submit up to 3 letters of recommendation for their transfer application. We typically encourage students to have at least one of these recommendations come from a professor or a teaching assistant at the University of Maryland to showcase their academic record. But the other letters of recommendation could come from coaches, they could come from advisors, they can also come from community leaders. We just ask that they come from people who are not from a family member or anyone related to the student in a family way. And those letters of recommendation can be submitted via email to lep@umd.edu. And if you're talking with your student about these letters of recommendation, you can remind them that every letter of recommendation should have the student's full legal name as well as their university ID, which is their 9-digit university ID code. And if you want more information on this process, you can also look at the website that we have listed on the slide. As I mentioned earlier, we do have specific courses that you must complete to be eligible for review. So to be reviewed for the business school, you must complete 45 credits at the conclusion of the semester. And some people get confused by this 45 credit limit. So some students apply when they have 45 credits already completed. Some students apply during the semester at which at the end they will have 45 credits. It's really up to the student in terms of how they want to apply or when they want to apply. It is important to know, as you can see toward the bottom of the slide, students can only apply once. They will not be reviewed multiple times for the business school. So it's really up to the student to decide if I want to wait and see how I did in my coursework to apply to the business school or apply during that semester. I'm in progress of those 45 credits. Students also must complete the gateway requirements within the repeat policy, and I'll discuss the repeat policy next. So the first requirement is BMGT 220, which is our Accounting 1 course. Requirement 2 is BMGT 230 or 231, which is Business Statistics. You can see we do have an equivalent because there are opportunities at the university to also get that credit through other courses. You can see the footnote at the bottom of the slide for more information. And our last requirement is Math 120, 136, or 140, and that's the calculus requirement. Students must earn a C- or better in all gateway courses to be considered for the Smith School, and a 3.0 GPA in all college coursework. And we put that in place because we know a lot of students may be completing a course at a community college or maybe transferring from a community college to the University of Maryland and then applying to the business school. So we have an average of all those GPAs, And if a student has a question regarding how their GPA is calculated, they can send an email to lep@umd.edu and ask for a GPA calculation. It is also important to note there's a footnote at the bottom that starting this fall, we have a new policy that students who have completed all the LEP gateway requirements, so those 3 courses or the 3 requirements that you see at the top of the screen, and have a 3.8 or higher cumulative grade point average across all college coursework will automatically be admitted to the business major. So that includes, as I said, any courses that they're transferring in from other institutions that does go into that cumulative grade point average. It does not mean that all of our spots are taken in the business school by students who have that 3.8 or higher. That's become a big myth on campus lately. There's still plenty of spaces for other students who do not meet that 3.8 GPA requirement. So please keep that in mind. A little bit about the application timeline just to have an understanding of how the student works through this process. So before the application opens, we encourage students to attend a Smith Transfer Information session. We offer these sessions throughout the semester, both in webinar format as well as in person. And the students can learn more about the application process themselves from a member of the Smith Admissions Education staff. We also encourage them, of course, to finish all their gateway courses and their requirements. And we also recommend students to ask for their letters of recommendation at least a month before the deadline, just to make sure they can have those people lined up, ready to write their letters of recommendation and have their letters of recommendation submitted before the deadline. Next, the application opens about 2 weeks into the semester. As I said, sometimes it varies and it can be 2 to 3 weeks. But it's after the add drop deadline for the semester, so students can get settled into their coursework before having to work on their transfer application. Then students submit their application, and so once again, those deadlines are March 15th and October 15th. And then once that happens, the students are done with their part of the application. The next part is the admissions review. So if a student is eligible for immediate review, which means they have 45 credits, all their gateway courses are completed with a C- or higher, and they have the 3.0 or higher, they are reviewed for admission, and they will receive their decision within a month of those deadlines. So if a student has completed everything, they apply March 15th, they should have a decision by the middle of April, so that way when they go to register for fall classes, they will be able to register for business courses. If a student is eligible for review at the end of the semester, meaning during the March 15th deadline, they're in progress of one of those gateway courses or finishing out a semester and they'll have 45 credits at the end of that semester, they will find out a decision a month after final grades are posted. So for instance, if a student is applying March 15th and they are in progress of a gateway course or in progress of 45 credits, they will not find out their decision until mid-June. As I mentioned, we do offer our Smith Transfer Information sessions. We go over majors. We also discuss special programs that students can apply to simultaneously with their admission to the Smith majors. We also discuss clubs that they can join even as non-business majors, career services opportunities, as well as more details just surrounding the transfer application. So we really ask you to encourage your student to register for one of these sessions, and you can see the link on the slide to send to your student. So a few myths about the Smith transfer process. These are kind of common myths that have gone across campus, and it's always really useful to cover these, and so you're equipped with this knowledge. One of the common myths is it's better to apply in one semester for admission rather than another semester, and that's simply not the case. We review all students equally in terms of admission, and so it really doesn't matter if they apply spring or fall. We still have an equal number of spaces for transfer students each semester. And so if a student's ready to apply, then we encourage them to apply. We also have a myth that a student should not apply to transfer with any of the gateway courses because it looks like they took the easy way out. So for instance, if a student took a Accounting 1 course at a community college over a summer, they shouldn't transfer that credit in because it looks like they didn't take all those credits at the University of Maryland College Park. we do look at all the coursework, even if you did transfer the credit in from a community college. There are occasions we also tell students if your course plan is really heavy and it makes more sense for you to take a course like business statistics or accounting 1 at another institution, that's okay. Just make sure the course is going to transfer to the University of Maryland as that gateway course, and the student can work with their current academic advisor to learn more about that. But it is an opportunity for students that if they're nervous about taking a specific course or they want to devote more time to a specific course in one of the gateway requirements, they can take it at a community college or another institution and transfer it back in. As I said, as long as it counts toward that course here at the University of Maryland. Another myth is that transfer coursework does not count in a student's GPA when applying to the business school. It does count. And as I mentioned earlier, if a student is nervous or anxious about what their GPA would be in looking at the business school application, they can email lep@umd.edu and ask for a grade calculation based on their transfer coursework and their University of Maryland coursework. The only caveat to that is the student must send their transcript from their previous institution or institutions and make sure it's posted to the student's account. So if a student has taken a class over the summer and their final transcript has not been sent to the University of Maryland, we are unable to calculate that. Another major myth is that a student has a better chance of getting into Smith if they apply to a certain major. We do know at other business schools they have caps to individual majors. At Smith, we do not have any caps. Once you're in the Smith school, you can apply to any of the majors. You can switch majors. It's just getting into the Smith school. So we encourage students to write down their major of choice and what they plan on majoring in, so that way we can do our part on our end for course enrollment purposes. It is easier to get in if my student waits until all their gateway courses are completed before applying. That's something that it really depends on the student and where the student is academically, socially, where they are in their life plan. Let's say your particular student has gotten an A in most of their courses, they're doing really well, they feel really strong that they're in, let's say, their Math 120 during this last semester and they're in progress of 45 credits. If they feel like they're going to complete the course with a really strong grade, they can apply while they're still in progress. We do see that quite often. So the student doesn't have to wait in order to apply, but once again, if a student might feel like a course is more difficult or more challenging than they thought it would be, which might impact their grade, it may be better to wait. So this is something that we encourage students to really talk with an academic advisor about in their current college and their current program, to really weigh the consequences of if they apply now or if they apply later. Another major myth is that Math 140, which is a more advanced Calculus 1 section, looks better on my student's transcript than Math 120. And the truth is, it's the same course, it's Calculus 1. We really only recommend Math 140 for students who might be looking at a career path in, say, quantitative finance, or they want to take on a statistics or actuarial math minor. Those are the students we encourage to take Math 140. If your student is not really looking to progress anymore in math or any quantitative areas, then we really recommend Math 120 for those students. So a little bit about opportunities and resources for your term. So these are some great ways to help you provide some resources to your student as they work through this transfer process. Encourage your student to strengthen their application to the business school through getting involved in clubs and organizations. If your student's not necessarily the most involved student, encourage them to find a club that really speaks to their passion or their interests. It doesn't have to be a business club in particular. It could be anything on campus, but it's nice to see that a student is part of the campus community and is willing to, add their talents and their skills to the campus community. Also, we encourage parents to ask your Terp to explore the various disciplines within business to ensure it's the right major. As I mentioned earlier, we know it's a very stressful process given it is a competitive admissions process. And so one of the things to help eliminate some of that stress is trying to decide if business is even the right major for your particular students given their interests and careers. We have had students who realize maybe economics or psychology or communications is a better fit for them based on their interests. So you can work with them to decide if this is the right path for them. And lastly, explore other passions and interests, which can assist students in parallel planning, which we'll talk about a little bit later in terms of what if you don't get into the business school, or what if you realize the business program is not what you want to do? How can we figure out other ways to pursue those passions and interests? So Smith Clubs and Organizations, we have our Smith Undergraduate Student Association. We have 28 clubs and organizations, and they range from areas of specialization such as our Terp AMA, American Marketing Association, our Smith Supply Chain Club, to just affinity-based groups. We have different groups focused on sports, music, fashion. So it's really a great place to hone your interests in an area of business. Our clubs and organizations are open to anyone on campus. So whether or not you're a business major, you can still join SUSA clubs and organizations. And so we really encourage students to look at these clubs and organizations even from the beginning to start getting some experience with business, as the clubs usually bring in a lot of professional speakers from various industries and organizations. And students can learn more about the clubs and get contact information at SUSA, S-U-S-A, UMD.com. Also, campus clubs are a great way to get involved in the campus community. So as you can see, we have a list of a lot of different campus clubs that students can become a part of that are business related, but I'm sure there are plenty more at the University of Maryland that we're not taking into consideration. We have students who serve on cultural dance teams as the accountants for the club. We also have students who serve in theater departments and a cappella groups. So it really is a diverse range of students. And they can find more information about getting involved at orgsync.umd.edu. We also do have diversity initiatives that are open to anyone on campus. However, we do ask for RSVP for these diversity initiatives. So at the moment, we're in the middle of our Black History Month celebration, which tonight we're actually having a Black History Month celebration with students highlighting their experiences with spoken word, poetry, dance, music. And it's a really great way to celebrate all members of our campus community and really recognizing that business is just as strong as our diverse community and celebrating that aspect of who we are. So if your student is interested in this, they can attend. They can look at our website with the link below to get more information and attend some of these events. There are also campus resources that we recommend to students as they're going through this process. The Counseling Center is a great opportunity for students. As I said, I know it can be a stressful process, so definitely students can talk out through that stress, but the Counseling Center can also help with some of that career exploration to a degree. So it might be a really great chance for students to talk through that. Also, at the University Career Center, students can also do more career exploration as well as apply for internships, externships, or part-time employment. That would also be useful. And you can visit either of the links below to get more information about those services. So let's discuss a little bit about parallel planning. We really dislike using the term, hey, we got to figure out something else for your student. Let's have people think about more of meaningful transfer of skills, transfer of knowledge, and that's what we really encourage students to think about. So a parallel plan really can help students discover their interests, values, and as I mentioned, transferable skills that can be related to other majors and careers. And we always tell students that they can still get the skills and knowledge they need for business in a different academic background. And it's not necessarily a backup plan, it's just a different pathway for students to get those skills and that knowledge and that experience. And one of the things that we've been learning over the years is many entry-level business jobs do not necessarily require a specific degree in business. And so we do have some students who work in communication and get great jobs in the business field. So it's not a requirement to have a business degree. You can have other degrees and still end up working in business. So here are some common parallel majors to business, depending on what your student's interest is. And you can see here, it ranges across the university, and we have all of these opportunities available to students. So let's say a student is interested in business analytics, Obviously, economics, mathematics, those are going to be great fields where you really hone in on your quantitative skills to bring that to a company. Information science, if you're interested in how technology and business interact. Maybe you're interested in management, and so you can take international relations to figure out, how does this work? Public policy, how can I make decisions at different levels? So there's really plenty of opportunities to think through this. It does take an open mind, and it might take some planning with another academic advisor on campus, but you really can pursue any interest based on the skills and knowledge it requires through other parallel majors on campus. Another great opportunity for students is to consider a business minor. We offer 3 minors through the business school to anyone on campus. They are innovation and entrepreneurship, general business, and business analytics. And if the student wants more information, or if you'd like more information, you can go to the website listed on the slide. All of the minor programs are application-based. However, the requirements are not necessarily as strict as the majors. The minors are usually 15 to 18 credits, and students are taking a lot of the core courses that are part of the major with many of these minors. The only minor that's typically capped at a certain level is business analytics, and that's simply because a lot of the coursework requires computer labs, and we only have a limited number of seats in each computer lab. So please keep that in mind. Otherwise, general business and innovation and entrepreneurship is really based on demand and student eligibility. So if you have more questions, as I said, you can refer to the website where we have a lot more information about deadlines, application information, etc. Another opportunity for students is the Smith School at Shady Grove. And at Shady Grove, it's a fall start only, as Shady Grove really is designed for a lot of students who may have their associate's degree and are continuing on to a 4-year degree. Only 3 majors are available at Shady Grove: accounting, management, and marketing. However, if a student is interested in this potential option, they can talk to us through applysmith@rhsmith.umd. We'll connect them with the program director at Shady Grove to ensure it's a good fit for students, because it is more of a traditional, very locked curriculum, and they do have to commute to Shady Grove every day. So it's something we want to make sure that's a mutual good fit for the student and the program. So how can you assist your student in the transfer process? First of all, listen to your student. One of the things that we always do working in our office is listen to the students about, what is it that you're passionate about? What are you interested? What world problem do you want to address and solve? And starting to figure out if that is relevant to business, if a business degree would be extremely useful for it, or if maybe a parallel major would be more useful. And just listen to them through all the stress of it as well. It's really useful for a student to have someone they can vent to about the process. Second, ask questions that promote focus and self-responsibility. It really helps to have someone prompt them to think about, what is it about business that I'm passionate about? What is it that I'm going to contribute to the Smith community? What is it that I want to gain out of this experience? And that's really important for us at the Smith School. We really try to talk about self-responsibility in terms of navigating your own path, in terms of signing up for internships, getting involved in clubs and organizations. And so really ask your student, why are you passionate about business, and what motivates you to apply to the Smith School of Business? And lastly, please provide support, and you can access some of these resources through the websites, and encourage your student to go to these websites, get the support they need, and that really does help students as they navigate this process. So a few more campus resources as we are going through this. One of the biggest helps you can familiarize yourself with is the LEP website. And so we've listed it on the slide so that you can go to the LEP. And it really discusses all aspects of the internal application process. Advisors across campus use this as their resource as they're advising their student on the application process. So it might help you as well to have that information. If you're looking for the Smith specific information about the transfer process, you can also go to our website. It lists the transfer information sessions that you can have your students sign up for, as well as some also commonly asked questions that we have answers to as well. For more application material coaching, if your student is in letters and sciences, which is mostly for undecided majors, I highly recommend the Business Exploration Series. It's a series of courses and workshops students can participate in to learn more about business, the various majors in business, the various sectors, as well as gain experience writing cover letters, writing resumes, and getting that experience in preparation for applying to the Smith School. Lastly, the Career Center and the Writing Center are extremely useful. Obviously, the Career Center can provide support in resume writing, getting internships, parallel planning potentially, and the Writing Center can help your student as they work through their personal statement or potentially writing their resume as well. Another opportunity that we do have for students, and I usually mention this for anyone who might have siblings or friends who are interested in business who are still in high school, we do offer 1 to 2 week residential living learning programs over the summer for high school students. As you can see, this year's sessions are July 19th through the 31st of 2020. Our priority deadline is coming up on March 23rd, but it's rolling admission after. So if you have anyone who might be interested in these programs, you can send them to the link below for more information and to apply. So that's the end of our presentation, and I'm happy to provide any or answer any questions that you might have about the transfer application process.
So there hasn't been any questions coming through the chat feature or Q&A feature, but you will see on this last slide the contact information for both the Smith undergraduate program as well as the Office of Parent Family Affairs. So if you do have any follow-up questions after thinking about this, reflecting on this presentation, please feel free to contact either office. Apply Smith at rhsmith.umd.edu is the email for Smith undergraduate program, and then terpfamily@umd.edu is the Office of Parent Family Affairs email address. So please, again, feel free to contact either one of us with any questions. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. As we bring this webinar to a close, I like to remind everyone that a recording of this webinar will be available on the Terp Family YouTube page. Just search Terp Family and you'll find our channel along with other webinars that we have previously done. You can also access the recording through our website, terpfamily.umd.edu, if you'd like to rewatch with another family member. You will receive an email this afternoon asking for your feedback, so please let us know how we did, how we can improve on future webinars, and any other topics you'd be interested in learning about. We welcome your thoughts. Thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your day.